The former federal prosecutor in the Hunter Biden criminal probe is denying politics played any role in the criminal investigation into the president's son. Leslie Wolf was deposed by a House panel last week. She said, quote, "I followed the facts where they led and made decisions in the best interest of the investigation. At no time did politics play a role in or in any way impact my work." Wolf testified 79 different times that she was not authorized by the GOJ to answer specific questions about the case.
Yes, baby. Yes, plus the stinger with the Santa hat. It's Christmas time. We are Christmas maxing on the show today. We want to give you a Christmas present. America, ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. It's been an incredible year. We have uber maxed our Christmassy studio here, and we are going to have a merry and jolly time, as it is the last show before Christmas. Friday, December 22nd, 2023. Corporate media finally admits that Joe is the criminal in a out-of-the-blue bombshell NBC story that we did not see coming. Republicans are drafting bills across the nation to rip Joe Biden from the ballot, and we are here for it. Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania join the crew. And ladies and gentlemen, Michael Seraph joins the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. It is Christmas time, and what does that mean? That means that your boy is going to be out here cooking meats. I go home and then I cook. My wife does everything else, but I'm in charge of the grill. I'm in charge of what comes off the grill. I stand out there. I'm often holding a kid in one hand, maybe an adult beverage in the other, and I am flipping meat on the grill. It's chilly even here in Florida right now. And so I'm happy to have that job and that role for Christmas. And what am I grilling? Moink, baby. Moink is the meat box that gets delivered to my door with the tastiest meat in America. It is grown here. It is raised here. American farmers produce this meat, and it tastes so very delicious. Their bacon, I know I talk a lot about it. My kid's favorite bacon. I have a daughter. She's 3 years old, and she's picky. And Moink bacon is like her favorite thing on earth. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Moink. Go to moink.com/Benny. Moinkbox.com/Benny. Free ground beef for a year right now for listeners. Moinkbox.com/Benny today. So we got an early Christmas present when we were flipping through social media last night and seeing this show making national news. This show, ladies and gentlemen, you, me, the movement that we are building together to tell truth, to speak truth. And a reminder, the Christmas season is all about speaking truth. The Christ child given to us on Christmas Day was a gift from God. And what did Christ do with his time on earth? He spaketh truth. He gave us the good news. I bring you tidings of great joy, says the angels. Christ the Lord is here. And Christ defeated evil in this time. He was only sent here. The Son of God was sent here to defeat evil. There's evil on this earth, and we must defeat it. And how did Christ do it? He spoke truth. He acted in goodness. And ladies and gentlemen, we spoke truth yesterday. A member of Congress came on our show and said, hold up, there's an entire evil organization designed to keep us quiet about people like Jeffrey Epstein. They blackmail us, members of Congress. It broke huge news. Here's Jesse Waters' show last night.
The way the country's running, we should assume the politicians are being sexually blackmailed. How can you explain the open border or the record spending and all the BS that comes out of that town? Well, Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee says sexual blackmail in the House, just a part of the deal.
It's how it works. You're visiting, you're out of the country or out of town, or you're in a motel or bar in D.C., and some whatever you're into, women or men or whatever, comes up and they're very attractive and they're laughing at your jokes and you're buying them a drink. Next thing you know, you're in the motel room with them naked, And next thing you're about to make a key vote. And what happens? Some well-dressed person comes up and whispers in your ear, hey, man, there's tapes out on you. Were you in a motel room on whatever with whoever? And then you're like, uh-oh, and said, you really ought not be voting for this thing.
Wow, I only thought there was like one Swalwell. Turns out there's dozens.
We made the exact same joke yesterday with Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee saying that there is a blackmail operation going on in Congress. And by the way, that made huge national news. Do we have some of the articles here? Do you have articles, Rolls-Royce? No? This is an Alex Jones tweet. This was written up by effectively everyone. It was top of Drudge Report yesterday. Drudge Report's gone completely, you shouldn't read Drudge anymore, by the way. Completely psychotically anti-Trump. But ladies and gentlemen, article after article after article, the top of Daily Mail, this was the story. Us telling the truth. Alex Jones saying it's all coming out. Give me that Anna Paulina Luna tweet too. She's a great friend of the show. I want to put that one up as well. It's all coming out, says Alex Jones. The CIA blackmail operation is being exposed. Just wait until the Epstein list hits next month. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our members of Congress who's a friend of the show, Anna Paulina Luna, tweeted this. Hold on. I got the tweet. Royce will put it up as soon as he's got it. I travel with my husband at all times. If he cannot come with me, reminder, this is a member of Congress, I have a female staffer as an alibi. I don't even touch alcohol in D.C. D.C. is a nasty place. Keep your circle tight. And just anticipate you're always going to be watched. This is how the game operates. So we got members of Congress that are now popping off against the deep state in public and their blackmail operations. They are designed, the superstate, the oligarchs, the kleptocracy is designed in order to silence people and to make them shut up. And we are giving the people, members of Congress and otherwise, the opportunity to speak. That's what we are doing here on this show. So as we welcome in the Christmas season, as we welcome in the birth of the Christ child, as we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, let us not forget that he didn't stay a baby. Christ grew up, faced Satan, faced evil down. And what did he do? How did he dispel Satan? He spoke truth. And that is what we are going to do on this program. That's what we will do heading into the new year. And we commit to you live now that we are going to put an enormous amount of resources into telling true stories on this program. It is real and truly powerful. In our age and 2,000 years ago, we simply carry forth the path that God has for us here and march forward in truth. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like the truth shall, in fact, set you free. Yesterday, we had our Santa hats blown off by a story out of NBC News. We couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. How do they even publish this? This looks like a headline from our show. Yet here's NBC putting a little bit of a dagger right before Christmas, right into the side of Joe Biden. Whew, baby. Read this headline. Records released by House Republicans show that Joe Biden repeatedly emailed Hunter Biden's business associates in 2014, but they go in. That's just the start, baby. Joe Biden exchanged emails with his son Hunter business associate 54 times while he was serving as vice president. I'm reading to you from NBC. Now, a reminder that Joe Biden doing just this first line destroys every lie that Joe Biden has told for his entire presidency. It has turned him into a repulsive, reptilian liar. NBC News is reporting this out. NBC News is owned carte blanche wholesale by Hillary Clinton. The Clintons are employed by NBC News. Clinton's daughter is a contributor or something like that. George Bush's daughter, also a contributor, just in case you're wondering how centrally organized all of this is. The press have been given the green light to go out and destroy and savage Biden. Maybe we shouldn't celebrate this, but it does seem like a victory lap for us. And we have been spending the nigh on 3 years doing stories like this. ALX, can you feel me? We were like the first show out, ripping into Hunter Biden's laptop. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we have a moment of truth. And so we should celebrate that. What do they have prepared for us? Is it Hillary Clinton? Is it Hillary Clinton wishing to run again? Some people have been whispering in our ear, it's going to be Hillary Clinton, who's going to have Gavin Newsom as her vice president. So who knows, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows? But let's continue the read. Some of the messages were sent around the time his elder Biden was traveling to Ukraine and his son was working for a Ukrainian gas company, according to records released by House Republicans. Again, if you've been watching this show and listening to our interviews with Kash Patel and some of the major researchers with Marco Polo, you would have known this 3 years ago. But it's nice to see NBC News catch up. A White House spokesperson declined to comment, but pointed out that the statements by the House Democrats and Hunter Biden's business associate Eric Schwerin worked as Joe Biden's financial advisor from 2019 to 2017, helped him file his tax returns. Schwerin did not respond to a request to comment. The records released describe the dates of the emails and the exchanges in them, but do not include the messages themselves. NBC News has not reviewed the contents of the emails. We refuse to look. But they're doing the report. All told, Vice President Biden emailed Eric Schwerin 35 times. This is, of course, the bag man for the Bidens. After his 2014 trips to Ukraine, 5 emails were exchanged just prior to the trips of Vice President Joe Biden and 27 emails at the end of June. A reminder, we're very honored and thankful for what God has done for us on this program. We are humbled by it. We wish to just simply bow our heads and walk the path that God has set before us. But we were able to speak to a whistleblower on this program, a man who was the stenographer for Joe Biden, a man who told us live that what he witnessed on that plane in Ukraine when he was Joe Biden's personal stenographer, this is an employee of the Barack Obama administration, this man tells us that what happened was Joe Biden was straight up arm twisting for Burisma the entire trip. Joe Biden suddenly, when Hunter Biden got the Burisma job, Joe Biden suddenly immediately pivoted his policies to American support of natural gas in Ukraine, natural gas development. That's what Burisma did. Suddenly the American taxpayers were on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars in subsidies to create natural gas productivity and profit for the nation of Ukraine, right as his kid gets on the board. Oh, and by the way, we learned from Hunter Biden's tax filings and the charges that the federal government brought against Hunter Biden that could land him 17 years in prison, that as soon as Donald Trump was elected, Burisma, let's just say, shut off the flow of gas in the form of money to the bank accounts of the Bidens. In fact, by the second year of the Trump administration, 2019, Burisma had completely canceled their contract with the Bidens. It's so easy. It's so simple that even the people with very room temperature IQs and helmets at NBC News can figure it out. A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, of what Joe Biden has told the press about his relationship with the Bidens, even as NBC News turns the dagger in his side.
Hunter Biden, your son, was getting paid a lot of money to serve on the board of a Ukrainian energy company facing serious corruption charges. You were the vice president running point on Ukraine. The average Joe hears that and says, that sounds fishy. What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it. And there's nobody...
Well, you've had a lot of time. Isn't this something you want to get to the bottom of?
No, because I trust my son.
But that doesn't pass the smell test. Like when you're vice president, isn't there a higher standard? Don't you need to know what's happening with your family? Don't you need to put down some guardrails?
Unless there was something that was, there was something on its face that was wrong. There's nothing on its face that was wrong. So look, if you want to talk about problems, let's talk about Trump's family. I mean, come on. This is...
So
these guys are amazing.
So you think that everything that happened was kosher?
There's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong.
There's not one tiny little bit of evidence to say that nothing was wrong. Nothing. Nothing I did was wrong. Save the fact that there's actually a lot of evidence to show that what Joe Biden did was wrong. We're going to play you a clip that should be the most important clip ever in media anywhere at any time. It is a literal recording of Joe Biden pressuring the president of Ukraine to get the prosecutor looking into his son fired. We have them on tape. So we often talk about the tapes of Joe Biden doing the bribes and doing everything. We already got those. Now, they don't like these recordings because they're not exactly sure where they came from. I'll tell you where they came from. Ukraine recorded these. And by the way, those phone lines are not secure. Ukraine recorded these and they were leaked in order to hurt Joe Biden because they knew what a corrupt bastard he was. And now look at what's happened to Ukraine. I weep for the people of Ukraine, okay? You know my stance on war. These people didn't deserve this. They're being shoved into a meat grinder because of Joe Biden. There was a peace deal on the table. Joe Biden and his regime ripped it off the table and forced hundreds of thousands of more Ukrainians to die. It's vicious. It's evil. What are they covering up? I know what they're covering up. This is what they're covering up. Here's Joe Biden on tape. Nobody's ever questioned the authenticity of this call. I'm going to play you the tape of Joe Biden effectively accepting the bribe from the leader of Ukraine. Poroshenko was his name. Before Zelensky, his name was Poroshenko. And Poroshenko's on this call groveling to Joe, saying, I've done your bidding, my master. I fired the prosecutor looking in to your corrupt dumbass kid.
A second positive news for you. Yesterday, I meet with the General Prosecutor Shokin.
Yes.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, we don't have any information about he doing something wrong, I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday, I especially asked him to resign. As his position as a state person, and despite of the fact that he has a support in the parliament. And as a finish of my meeting with him, he promised me to give me the statement on resignation. And 1 hour ago, he bring me the written statement of his resignation.
Great.
And this is my second step for keeping my promises.
So we're going to remake that. We're going to clean up the audio and everything. This is from a recorded phone call. That is an authentic call of Joe Biden accepting the resignation of Viktor Shokin via the president of Ukraine, saying, this prosecutor's done nothing wrong. Everyone loves this prosecutor. He was looking into your kid. That seems to be his only crime. Joe Biden goes, great. Great. We got you on tape. Oh, and by the way, we speak a lot. It's the Christmas show. So let's talk a little bit about evil and the nature of evil. Evil can't rest. Evil is not a peaceful thing. You have to scream out evil. That's why a lot of these people, the serial killers and stuff, they turn themselves in, or they keep committing crimes to get caught. Here's Joe Biden's version of that. You've already seen the clip. We don't need to play the clip, but you've seen this a million times. Well, son of a bitch, he got fired. Joe Biden effectively talking about the bribe. He openly described the bribe. We're not going to give you the money until you fire this guy looking at my kid. We're not going to do it. But the clip you don't normally hear, because of course this is Joe Biden, so blatant, such a bloody cheek, this guy. He has to brag about it. Remember, they have to brag about Epstein. This is the Epstein style. They have to brag about these things. They have to shove it in your face what they're doing, how corrupt. They have to push it in your face. That's the nature of evil, right? Eat the apple. Be overt about it, okay? The clip you haven't seen before is the clip of Viktor Shokin himself. This is the guy that was being, this is NBC News, by the way. NBC News' story is all about Ukraine. It's coming back, baby. Shokin himself on camera saying not only was Joe Biden bribing people in order to get him fired so that his kid could go on and make money, but they tried to kill him. They were trying to kill me. They tried to poison me. What? Again, are we even prepared to understand how dark and sick our government is? Baby, Christmas time. It's a time for light. It's a time of light. Let's show light on this evil corruption inside of our government. Watch.
Earlier. Do you believe that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden got bribes?
I do not want to deal in unproven facts, but my firm personal conviction is that, yes, this was the case. They were being bribed. The fact that Joe Biden gave away $1 billion in U.S. Money in exchange for my dismissal, my firing, isn't that alone a case of corruption?
Yeah. I mean, again, on its face, this is Joe Biden doing everything that they accused Donald Trump of doing. I mean, Joe Biden he can get away with it because he serves the masters in Washington, D.C. But I think that time is potentially coming to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, Devin Archer was testifying in Washington. The House Republicans, I've been walked through this by James Comer himself, okay? Off air. James Comer's like, listen, you got to understand. Like, you lock in the testimony so that you know what you're going to get. And if they lie, when all the cameras are on, right, you have to do this behind closed doors because you must get them in a place where it's less stressful. And then when all the cameras turn on, you got to be able to say they're perjuring themselves. You got to be able to indict someone for lying to Congress. And so you got to get them all locked in beforehand. A guy named Devin Archer, who was the chief handler of Hunter Biden, right? He was like the Hunter Biden bad boy. His job was to keep Hunter Biden like a chain on him. Devin Archer comes in and says, no, you don't understand. Joe Biden was the product we were selling. It's going to be a bad spring for Joe Biden. It's going to be a bad new year for Joe Biden. Not a very Merry Christmas. And I'm not just talking about them keeping the grandchild they don't want to talk about stalking off the fireplace at the White House. I'm talking about this. Their entire world's collapsing right now, the Bidens. They've never, ever suffered a single consequence for anything they've done to you, me, us, the American people. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about to happen. Check out what Devin Archer said earlier this fall.
The reaction to what you've said in public, to what you said to the committee on the Hill, and doubtless to what you've been telling us in this interview, is that, like, there's no corruption here at all. This is totally normal. Joe Biden had no role whatsoever in his son's business or knowledge of it. But
right.
That seems false.
Yeah, I think that's categorically false. I think that he was aware of Hunter's business. He met with Hunter's business partners. You found a letter that illustrates that he knew me.
And he's thanking you. He's thanking you for his efforts.
So I think that was, I think
your efforts. Yeah.
I think that that's not factually right.
It's not factually right. This is Devin Archer. This guy's also going to federal prison for defrauding people. Funny how the Bidens try and lock up absolutely everyone who may testify against them. But it ain't going to work this time. We started off with a story about NBC News, and it's worth like popping it back up. NBC News legitimately running with this headline about how, this was a headline from yesterday, about how obviously Democrats say the emails were routine. Hunter Biden's business associate worked for Joe Biden's financial advisors, but that's not true. Like, these massive fact checks by NBC News. Something's happening, guys. Something's happening. Reading to you from the article, Hunter Biden earned nearly $1.2 million from Burisma in 2014, according to the emails connected to a hard copy of his hard drive obtained by NBC News. Here's NBC News using Hunter's laptop. This wouldn't be happening without us. This wouldn't be happening without you and me and us talking about it till our voices cracked, till we were blue or red in the face, until the veins bulged in our necks. Clicking share on these links until our nails broke. But here we are. You are seeing it before you. NBC News digging through Hunter Biden's laptop. I got a better one for you. I got CNN digging through Hunter Biden's laptop. It's going to be great. In recent tax indictments of Biden, federal prosecutors allege that he made $1.4 million 2016 to 2019 when Biden's engagement with the Ukrainian firm ended. Such an important line there. What is that saying? That's saying that the feds got you. They got you, bitch. They got you. This is NBC News shot across the bow. You were making all this cash when your daddy was vice president, and then as soon as Trump went into office, you made nothing, and the feds have you dead to rights on it. Biden is scheduled to be arraigned on misdemeanor and felony charges in Los Angeles early in January. After his indictment last week, Biden attorney said in a statement, after 5 years of investigating, there's no new evidence. But then they fact-checked them that there is new evidence. So here we have NBC News fact-checking Hunter's lawyers. How much full and total collapse is the Biden family enduring right now? As Hunter Biden crawls on his hands and knees across the Oval Office floor, searching for Parmesan. As Joe Biden, drooling and comatose, is asleep in the corner with cringe Jean-Pierre waving a newspaper over his face, try and wake him up. As Jill Biden frantically searches the White House to try and cover up the new baggies of crack being found and to try and steal a shower curtain to turn into a dress. Ladies and gentlemen, the TV crackles in the background. And what's on it? Of course, CNN is on it because they know they can trust their friends at CNN. CNN would never dig through Hunter Biden's laptop, right? CNN would never rip open Hunter Biden's laptop live on air and be like, Joe Biden is lying. Ooh, baby, does Santa got a bag for you?
Despite his denials, a CNN review of the laptop data, as well as other public material, shows that Joe Biden did interact with some of his son's associates while serving as vice president, though it's unclear exactly what was discussed. One example, the Republican site, Miguel Alemán Magnani, a Mexican businessman and son of the former president who Hunter was trying to woo. In 2014, Alemán Magnani and his dad were photographed at the White House with then Vice President Biden. In a later email, Hunter Biden reminds Alemán Magnani of the favors he's done for him. We have been talking about business deals and partnerships for 7 years. I have brought every single person you have ever asked me to bring to the effing White House and the Vice President's house and the inauguration. Hunter Biden bluntly acknowledged the power of the Biden name in a memoir, writing that the Ukrainian energy company Burisma, which put him on its board, considered my last name gold.
I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
Here is the reason why we try as hard as we can to be creative on this program. The reason we decorate our studio and the reason we go out and do special projects and stuff and make documentaries is that evil has no capacity for joy or creativity. A joyful heart and a happy heart and is a wellspring of creativity. Our God is a creative God. God created the universe. Satan has never created anything. Evil doesn't create, it destroys. Evil's job is to destroy beauty, to desecrate beauty. God's pure creation is beauty. I'm not trying to get esoteric here, nor am I a philosopher or a theologian. I'm simply trying to state the basics. God created the earth. God sent his only son to us on Christmas. God creates beauty, the Christ child's birth, beautiful, the star, heaven, the wise men, everything. And evil desecrates it. Evil isn't creative. Evil can't come up with new things. They can't create beautiful things. This is why, of course, cathedrals are built the way they're built, and why Soviet structures are built the way they're built. The brutalist style, giant cement hulking blocks hanging over your head. There is no capacity to create. There is no capacity for new or renaissance in evil. And so that is why when Joe Biden was asked last week, hey, yo, you definitely met with your kids' business partners. There's photos. The NBC News is reporting it, pal. CNN is going through your kid's laptop. We got all the photos. We got the email. We got everything. Republicans have released them all, the checks and we got it all. Why did you meet with your kids' scumbag business partners? If you weren't selling America, why did you do that? Don't make no sense. Here you go, Joe. Tell us an answer. A reminder. Evil can do nothing new. Evil isn't creative. Evil has no joy. Evil can't laugh. So Joe Biden does this.
President Biden, on Ukraine and also China, there's polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either illegally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans to Americans amid this impeachment inquiry why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with many of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
Mr. President, do you think there is any Democrat who could defeat Donald Trump other than you?
Probably 50 of them.
You do believe that there are?
I'm not the only one to defeat him, but I will defeat him.
Who else do you think could defeat Donald Trump, Mr. President?
Oh, baby, coming up, we have for you all of the states that are planning on ripping Joe Biden from the ballot. You know, we're up to 5 red states that intend on introducing bills to rip Joe Biden off the ballot based on his insurrection. Joe Biden's there, they're going like, all of it's lies. Everything's a lie. Everything you see with your eyes and your ears, it's all a lie. Trust the integrity of me and my administration. But, you know, here's the thing, is that as soon as Joe Biden gets asked a question like that, what happens is they all go screaming through the White House saying, no more press conferences, no more questions. And reporters are starting to like get the message, or at the very least starting to get pissed off. The clip I'm about to play for you here is a clip from the White House just a couple hours ago. Cringe Jean-Pierre standing in front of the press, once again, taking effectively the Jen Psaki playbook, circling back with a reporter from the Associated Press, a guy named Zeke Miller. This guy is a hardened Democrat leftist. This man is somebody who has always asked a softball. And so they go to him. Cringe goes to him. But she wasn't expecting this. She got a heater down the center of the plate. So the AP reporter, whose sole job it is to protect Joe Biden, is like, hey, sounds like you're not putting Joe Biden up for any questioning on any press ever, anywhere. Why are you doing that? You know, he is running for re-election, right? So why isn't he taking any questions from the press? You're like trying to win against Trump. You're down in the polls. So like, shouldn't Joe Biden be answering questions? Oh, you're going to love this clip. You're going to love it so much. We're going to make this the Salt That Lib clip. If you're new to the program, we have a segment called Salt That Lib. I want to see salt shakers. Salty. It's like snowing, right? Snowing in the comment section. With the Cringe Jean-Pierre gets so salty in this clip. She can't believe the corporate press coming at her like this. Come at me. Corporate press, baby. Let's salt that lib.
Traditionally, the president will hold a year-end press conference and talk about his record, make the case directly to the American people, defend some of the policy actions taken. The president, December 21st, doesn't seem to be doing that this year. Can you explain why he doesn't want to defend his record to the American people and make his case for his record to the American people directly?
Well, I think that anytime the president travels and is in front of the American people, he does that. He did that in Wisconsin when he talked about Bidenomics. He talked about small businesses and how that's a pillar of Bidenomics and investing in America. So you heard him do that directly to the American people. Look, he does we make an effort to do a press conference as often as possible, whether it's here at home or abroad. As you know, he held a 2+2 with President Zelensky, which I think was an incredibly powerful, important moment for the American people to see what we have been doing to help the brave people of Ukraine fight against tyranny, fight against the aggression from Russia. And you saw him do that right alongside President Zelensky. And so, you know, the president certainly was very engaged with members of the press corps yesterday who traveled with him. He engaged with them 3 times, took questions, made a statement, really important statement about Venezuela and the hostage situation. And so this is something that we really make an effort to do, and you know, and we will continue to do that in 2024. Do as many as press conferences as possible abroad and at home.
Do you realize that the existence of Cringe Jean-Pierre is effectively, and thank you for all of your salt. Your salty tears, they fill my cup. They so encourage us. Your sweet salty tears. Please keep the salt flowing, if you would, Rolls-Royce. A reminder, ladies and thank you for your salt. Thank you so much for your salt. The salt, yum, salt so good. Cringe Jean-Pierre is like she doesn't speak the English language. Tucker Carlson says it'd be hard for her to get a driver's license. Like, do you notice that she doesn't, like, it's like subliterate? It's a practice in humiliation. It's a practice in demoralization. That's why she's up there. Joe Biden, hey, why didn't Joe Biden take any questions from the press? He made a statement yesterday. So we're going to keep doing that in 2024. Okay. Speaking of somebody who's also not answering questions, this is how you know they are a little nervous. Prosecutor who allegedly shielded Joe Biden and Hunter Biden testifies 79 times that she's not authorized to give answers under Republican questioning in the House. Former federal prosecutor who allegedly shielded President Biden and his son Hunter during a criminal investigation testified 79 times before Congress. She's not authorized by the Justice Department to answer questions about the case. This is how you know you're over the target. Former assistant Delaware U.S. attorney, her name's Leslie Wolf, she repeatedly cited a 5-page authorization letter by the Deputy Attorney General as she refused to answer questions during the House Judiciary Committee deposition last week. Ooh, baby. This is the person who ordered them not to look into Joe Biden. It's ordered the IRS, according to the whistleblowers, Leslie Wolf, to not ask questions that would lead to Joe. Oh, man. They're nervous now. They're very nervous now. And they're very nervous after this next section. Our election update for the day. More Republican states begin drafting legislation to block Joe Biden from the ballot. This is our election update. We got to switch that. Come on. Rolls-Royce. We got to add Vivek to that. We got to add Vivek. Got to add Vivek to that stinger. We have the stingers. We like our segments on this program. We actually have a brand new stinger for you that we're going to unveil called the Based Bomb in just a second. But first, ladies and gentlemen, Republicans are drafting bills to remove Joe Biden from the ballot. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. A Christmas goose, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a shilling. Here's 5 shillings. Go buy the biggest Christmas goose you can. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 Republican state lawmakers are now drafting legislation to remove Joe Biden from the ballots in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Ooh, that would hurt. This is according to Breitbart News. If Biden is removed from the ballots, the president will have a difficulty in winning Democratic primaries in the presidential election. Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania are vital swing states. The 3 state representatives are drafting bills they name the representatives here. God bless them. They're all heroes of the Republic. The state representatives aim to fight back against Democrats' so-called lawfare used to attack Donald Trump. What are these all based on? The name insurrection, because a real insurrection is not saying go and march peacefully to the United States Capitol. A real insurrection is not the video that we played for you yesterday. Let's grab that again, ALX. That went thermonuclear. We put it up on X. Jeez, got like 30,000 reposts. Grab that Trump video. The reason they took Trump off Twitter in the first place was he released a video that disproves the entire narrative, the wrap-up smear that they had created for him. Ladies and gentlemen, the real insurrectionist is the person who doesn't follow American law. The real insurrectionist is somebody who's using the American military. They're using our military against us. This is what the Biden regime is doing, because our military is going down and cutting the concertina wire on the Texas border to violate states' rights and to facilitate an invasion of our nation. That is precisely what is happening right now, and that is true insurrection. The armed overthrow of a nation. That's what's happening. 10 million criminal migrants into our country in violation of our laws that were ratified by Joe Biden himself, the 1964 immigration law that says you cannot be here as an illegal. That's what Joe Biden has done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a real insurrection. And so good for these states. They join Florida and Texas in following this primrose path that has been laid before us by Colorado. So can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Texas Lieutenant Governor yesterday saying, we're going to rip Joe Biden off the ballot because he's facilitated insurrection of our state. Colorado said that they themselves will be taking Donald Trump off the ballot in a 4-3 ruling because of an insurrection. Now, you have to be found guilty for this to apply, the 14th Amendment. You have to be found guilty of insurrection. You have to be found guilty, jury of your peers. You also have to be, of course, losing on appeal And you have to be an insurrectionist. Donald Trump has never been charged with insurrection. He's never even faced trial for this, nor has any of the J6ers. But it gets even worse. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Dershowitz, one of the foremost legal minds of our time, big-time Democrat too, was straight up saying what's happening right now in Colorado is patently illegal. The court has no bounds to actually rule on federal elections. This is a state court. Colorado's unconstitutional anti-Trump judicial power grab triggered Republican retaliation and plunged 2024 election into chaos. Alan Dershowitz, there is no power in a state court to enforce the 14th Amendment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our newest segment called a based bomb, when someone goes straight up based and bombs the fragile little minds of liberals. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Dershowitz on our very first based bomb on The Benny Show.
Does this ruling now permit states to go rogue and determine, potentially without due process, who can and can't run for president?
Well, that's the implication. It doesn't get limited to Colorado. What the Colorado court said is that he committed insurrection, which they say under the 14th Amendment disqualifies him. But the problem is they haven't read the full 14th Amendment. Section 5 is as clear as anything could be. The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. It's up to Congress to enforce it, and they haven't done it. There is no power in a state court to enforce this. Colorado or California or anywhere else. And the Supreme Court, I believe, will come down very hard on Section 5 of the 14th Amendment. Look, think about it logically. The writers of the 14th Amendment were radical Lincoln Republicans in favor of Reconstruction. Do you think they would turn the issue over to Alabama and Mississippi to decide who can run for president? That's the last thing they would have done. They wanted to centralize power, obviously, in the Congress, not in the Confederate States.
So the only other presidential candidate to be ripped from the ballot was Abraham Lincoln. Donald Trump actually posted about this. Abraham Lincoln was taken from the ballot in 10 different states, Confederate states. So here our Democrats are going back to their factory reset programming of ripping Republicans off the ballot in their states. The factory reset for Democrats is the Confederacy. The factory reset for Democrats is racial segregation. This is what they're calling for. It is simple KKK, Brown versus Board of Education, Plessy versus Ferguson, segregation, Jim Crow laws now in place, just attacking different groups, right? Just attacking the other. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. So this is the factory settings that Democrats are on, and they're going to do anything that they possibly can to engage in what is the actual big lie, which is that Donald Trump is an insurrectionist. But we can disprove that in a single video. This is the video they never wanted you to see. This is the video that they took Donald Trump off social media for posting. Because Donald Trump spaketh truth, because Donald Trump was going to destroy their pre-planned insurrection narrative that they had, they couldn't have a video like this out. It's too inconvenient for them. Inconvenient further is that we have the video. Within 5 minutes of posting this, Donald Trump was taken off Twitter on January 6th. We got the video, and you deserve to see it once and for all to crystallize exactly how evil these people are. Go.
I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace.
An evil system that is based on lies, that is based on corruption, that is based on a snake eating its own tail shall collapse. And you are beginning to see the first stages of that collapse right here in this next article. They never wanted you to see that video. That video proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Donald Trump, of course, was not staging an insurrection. I don't like even repeating that because that's using their language. How can you insurrect, by the way, against a government of which you are the head of? Donald Trump's president. How can you stage an insurrection? Nobody was armed. The only person killed was Ashley Babbitt, without warning. Cold-blooded murder. They needed the narrative. They needed the narrative because now the most dangerous thing they're charging Donald Trump with is the charges in Washington, D.C. from Jack Smith, the special prosecutor that was appointed at Joe Biden's demanding, screaming, till his dentures fly out of his mouth, and Merrick Garland to appoint, this is written in the New York Times, Joe Biden just ranting and raving that you gotta go after Trump. You gotta criminally prosecute Trump. Joe Biden is such a despot, such an evil man. One of the greatest psyops and greatest lies ever told to the American people is he's a good and decent man. I can disprove that Joe Biden is a good person really quickly. One, he doesn't acknowledge his own grandchildren. Joe Biden had to be shamed by the New York Times to acknowledge his own grandchildren. It's 7 grandchildren, Joe, the New York Times writes in a headline. Joe Biden wouldn't hang a stocking for his granddaughter, his legitimate granddaughter. Navy Jones Roberts is her name. Say her name. Jill wouldn't hang a stocking for her. They hung a stocking for the dog on Christmas above the White House fireplace. So they're scum. That alone, that's a moral issue. That's not even a political issue. Now we get to the political issue. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, 19 Republican attorney generals have lined up with Trump to urge the Supreme Court not to go along with Jack Smith's push for a rapid decision on immunity, calling it political interference and partisan interests. Ladies and gentlemen, there may be a thread here that actually says Jack Smith is illegal. Hey, Alex, grab me that article. That article out is multiple other AGs saying that Jack Smith's actual appointment as a prosecutor for the federal government is on its face illegal. It's an adjoinder to this filing. 19 Republican attorney generals want the Supreme Court to take its time and let Donald Trump's claim of presidential immunity from prosecution make its way through the normal appeals process, with campaign season right on the line. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall and other top law enforcement officers in their states blasted the filing by Special Prosecutor Jack Smith as politically motivated, aligning them with the former president accused of conspiring to overturn the election. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Ronald Reagan's Attorney General, Jack Smith himself is unconstitutional. Special counsel in Trump's case, unconstitutional, according to Reagan's Attorney General. Former Attorney General Ed Meese has presented arguments to the Supreme Court that they should reject Special Counsel Jack Smith's request because he is unconstitutionally appointed. Get a load of this argument. Meese, along with other professors of law, bunch of names here, say that the appointment of Smith, a private citizen, is in violation of the Appointments Clause in the Constitution. Not clothed in the authority of the federal government, Smith is a modern example of a naked emperor, the brief states. Improperly appointed, he has no authority to represent the United States in this court than Bryce Harper, Taylor Swift, or Jeff Bezos. Oh, man. The brief was filed in response to Smith's request for the court to expedite former Donald Trump's case, arguing presidential immunity. This is the death blow, ladies and gentlemen. This is the death blow. And it continues. One of our best friends of the show, Mike Davis, tweeted this morning, and it's so true from the Washington Examiner. The greatest fear of Democrats is that they've turned Donald Trump into Nelson Mandela. Biden making Trump the Nelson Mandela of America, according to pollsters. Voters are angered at what they see as Democratic strong-arm tactics take out America's most popular politician with legal and political tactics believed to be of the third world in nature. Yes, it is true. America sanctions countries for doing what they're doing to Donald Trump right now. 7 in 10 voters, 69%, nice, believe that politics has played a role in 4 of the indictments against Trump. What's more, 58% believe that Biden has played a role in delivering those indictments, including 1/3 of Democrats, 54% of black people, and 58% of Hispanics. 56% want the Justice Department to stop targeting Donald Trump and interfering in the upcoming presidential election. Holy schmoly. This was a McLaughlin poll. By the way, the McLaughlin polls are like the most prestigious and elitist polls in all of Washington. They have such a pedigree. So if they're finding this out, like, they have truly and utterly overstepped. Biden is trying to make Donald Trump the Nelson Mandela of America, says pollster John McLaughlin. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in jail because he opposed South Africa's white leadership and was elected president when he was freed. He now has become a hero internationally. Are they going to turn Donald Trump into Nelson Mandela? Well, we have proof that it may happen. We have the greatest Donald Trump ad to never play on TV. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is why they fear Donald Trump so very much. And it's very simple. Donald Trump, his personification, is a personification of elite failure, elite, overzealous institutional mismanagement, and the corruption of a group of people that care far more about Ukraine and their border than America and our border. We're just an LLC. We're a shell company. We're just a pass-through entity, an economic zone for these goblins. And we're done with that. That's what America First is really about. It pre-existed Trump. Trump is the embodiment, the vector of it right now, as perfectly crystallized by this Donald Trump ad narrated by Tucker Carlson. Watch this and see if you don't get chills.
Millions of Americans sincerely love Donald Trump. They love him in spite of everything they've heard. They love him often in spite of himself. They love Donald Trump because no one else loves them. The country they built, the country their ancestors fought for over hundreds of years, has left them to die in their unfashionable little towns, mocked and despised by the sneering half-wits with finance degrees but no actual skills who seem to run everything all of a sudden. Whatever Donald Trump's faults, he is better than the rest of the people in charge. At least he doesn't hate them for their weakness. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. That was true 4 years ago when Trump came out of nowhere to win the presidency, and it's every bit as true right now. Trump rose because they failed. It's as simple as that. If the people in charge had done a halfway decent job with the country they inherited, if they'd cared about anything other than themselves, even for just a moment, Donald Trump would still be hosting Celebrity Apprentice. But they didn't. Instead, they were incompetent and narcissistic and cruel and relentlessly dishonest. They wrecked what they didn't build. They lied about it. They hurt anyone who told the truth about what they were doing. That's true. We watched. America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. A vote for Trump is a vote against them. That's what's going on in this country.
America is a great country, but our ruling class is despicable. Perfect crystallization by Tucker there. Perfect understanding of this moment, as ever. Rings like a bell across a fresh, fallen field of snow on a Christmas morn. Donald Trump is simply a reflection of their failures. Donald Trump rose because they failed. They inherited a great nation, and they don't have a right to destroy this place. But I'll be damned if one of the smartest to ever do it, the best to ever do it, sincerely, watching from heaven right now with his golden microphone, didn't call it. Fighting through cancer, fighting through excruciating chemotherapy. The great Rush Limbaugh, in one of his final broadcasts, gave us a warning about this moment. We thought it'd be a poignant way to end the year. That 3 years ago, nigh on 3 years ago, Rush Limbaugh, on his golden microphone, told us exactly what they were going to do to Trump. Trump had just left office. Ladies and gentlemen, Rush Limbaugh said it perfectly, about as perfectly as his protege Tucker Carlson did right there. A continuation. Trump simply accepted the mantle of America First. He took the pain and the energy and the desires of this nation built by good people who have mothers, fathers, grandfathers, who fought and died here, who spilt their blood here? Donald Trump is the embodiment of a group of people, you and me, who say America first, not Israel, not Ukraine, not Russia, not China, not Mexico. America first, because this is the place I'm raising my children, my grandchildren. This is the earth I was born on. This soil raised me. This place is more than just an economic zone or a shell company. This isn't just a pass-through for the global elites that wish to humiliate us, denigrate and decay our country. And Donald Trump called them out on those evil plans, and that is why they hate him. And Rush Limbaugh predicted perfectly what they would do to him. A reminder in the confidence and the chilling accuracy of this clip, and also the path forward. Watch Rush.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
Does it give you a little bit of a calm seeing Rush say they're going to rip him off the ballot? 3 years ago, Rush said they're going to rip him off the ballot. They're going to do everything that they can to try and destroy this man. And they're going to try and destroy you by proxy because it's really you that they hate. We've put together a top 10 of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Things that should give you hope and a spring in your step heading into the new year. And the first one, ladies and gentlemen, is the Trump mugshot. They wanted to humiliate you with this mugshot. They tried so hard to make sure that Donald Trump's mugshot was a moment when they could prove that Donald Trump was a criminal and did the exact opposite. Here, Donald Trump reposting on X for the first time after years of being banned, his mugshot. What's the numbers on this, Rolls-Royce? 474,000 reposts. 275 million views. Ladies and gentlemen, in this year, we boycotted Bud Light. We took $27 billion off the market cap of the world's biggest beer company and took the king of beers and cast its crown into the gutter because they spit in our faces. They defied science and they defied their paying customer. We proved once and for all that if you go woke, you will go broke. And we made it hurt, ladies and gentlemen, proving once again that we have the power. America first has the power. Fox News thought they had the power to fire Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson could simply just disappear. They could sue him and keep him off the air. Tucker Carlson gets revenge on Fox, announces his show on X, and goes on to publish some of the biggest interviews in human history. Tucker Carlson has multiple interviews by himself as an independent creator with hundreds of millions of views, some with 500 million views, which are arguably the most watched interviews in human history. Donald Trump walked on stage, a CNN stage, this summer. Donald Trump was invited live on CNN for the first time in years and absolutely nuked CNN to their faces. I'm telling you, there was literal shaking. According to The Atlantic, there was literal shaking in the studio when Donald Trump did this.
to what happened on that day.
He
You said
did
you
not
weren't.
say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
True,
that
of
speech
course.
that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
Answer.
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you...
You're a nasty person. By the way, did anybody else hold their breath when Donald Trump goes, "Oh, should I pull it out? I gotta pull it out. Should I pull it out? All right. Oh, where'd all my paper go? Oh, I throw too much paper. Okay, normally I have a stack of papers here. Should I pull it out? I gotta pull it out. Let's do it." And he breathes. He's got his tweets. Oh man, this was the year for truth telling. This was the year when the mask came off. Mike Pence, Tucker Carlson on stage. The end of Mike Pence's career. This was the moment when you recognized exactly who the snakes were. Mask off moment. Mike Pence saying, "America is not my concern." Well, thanks for the honesty, Mike.
Promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January. I heard again 2 weeks ago in Ukraine, they still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's the moment. That's the moment. Are you sick and tired of being represented by John McCain? How old are you? I'm young. My first presidential election was John McCain in 2008. That's the first time I was old enough to vote. And I had to vote for that. This guy, this betrayer of our party. I had to then vote for Mitt Romney. I am so sick of Republicans being the kind of dog-walking, ball-gagged, gimp suit-wearing, on a leash by the corporate Democrats, being dragged through Washington, D.C. I'm sick of that. And this year, not 2016, 2016 was the first guy through the wall. That's what Trump did. This year, there was new energy in the Republican Party. There was a new vibe. There was a new, we will not be the corporate simps and the lackeys for the Democrats any longer. This was perfectly crystallized in a debate stage moment with Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, we've had many blessings this year, but being able to help Vivek craft this answer was one of my favorite. We have a whole documentary about it. We've spent the day with Vivek in Miami doing debate prep. And he's like, what do we got? He comes walking in. I go walking into the Airbnb he'd rented. We're both sitting there with our coffee. We both have bedhead. And he's like, let's make the most fire opening statement ever in the history of any presidential debate. Let's go after Ronna. She's a failure. She's a Romney. Ronna Romney. Let's go after her. Ask her to resign. Let's go after the moderators. And let's go after the failed Republican leadership who've sold us out. Let's do it. And ladies and gentlemen, we workshopped it a little bit. And then this happened.
Swamy, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. Since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made-up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you?
Ooh, baby. Ooh, man. He's cooking. Hold up. Let him cook. Just wish we had 10 more seconds. It's 10 more seconds. You have to let Kristen Welker answer. Do you still believe the Russia collusion hoax, Kristen Welker? Needs to be the question that every Republican asks forever. Why is our RNC allowing Russia collusion hoaxers to ask questions of our candidates? Donald Trump wasn't on the stage, but still, the Republican candidates. Why? That doesn't make sense. Why do you betray your values? Elon Musk asked that question on stage. Elon Musk asked, hey, why is a media company, Disney, betraying the values of free speech? Disney would not exist if we did not have a First Amendment. Disney is a media company. Walt Disney's cartoons are free speech, practiced when people didn't normally make cartoons. Walt Disney won Oscars for them. That is the crystallization of free speech. The entire backbone, the history of Disney is built on free speech. And now you're trying to bribe me with money for practicing free speech? Go yourself. Watch.
There's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
But
go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Are you loving this energy? This is our energy. The left isn't doing this. The left is trying to put Donald Trump in prison. The left is trying to use everything they possibly get. They're grabbing the pink-haired, unhappy activists on some random court that's stacked with a bunch of sociopaths who belong in a mental institution in Colorado. They're trying to stop us from being able to vote for Trump. And why is that? Well, because they know when Donald Trump gets a chance to walk into a sports arena beside Kid Rock, Tucker Carlson, that every single person in Madison Square Garden, in the bluest area of the country, is standing on their feet. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. That happened just a few weeks ago. A few short weeks ago, Madison Square Garden, UFC 295. Donald Trump walking in like a conquering hero in the middle of Manhattan, and every person on their feet standing and cheering. You live in a red country. We need to start acting like it. We live in a red country. Let's act like it. And the corruption, ladies and gentlemen, is at hand. The collapse is at hand. Hunter Biden's plea deal got blown up. Now, we mustn't miss the fact that this is so important. This is such a undeniable blessing from God, because Hunter Biden should have never been charged with anything, because this plea deal was so perfectly written to effectively absolve him like a giant, it's a pardon. He got a presidential pardon by his dad, written into a plea deal by these rats and these pigs who run our Justice Department. And these guys wrote in effectively a magic wand to disappear all of Hunter Biden's sins. And a judge, of all places, blew it up in Democrat Delaware. This Democrat judge, who had clearly not been bribed with enough Burisma money, was like, this is trash, and threw it out. And now Hunter Biden's catching a case. Big cases in California. I have a number of sources saying they are preparing to bring FARA charges against Hunter Biden. Foreign agent registration. They are going to go after this corrupt bastard. They're actually doing it. Now, I don't believe they've found their better angels. I don't think it's because suddenly suddenly we care about the law. I think they are trying to actually use this as leverage to get the Bidens to drop out. But nonetheless, it is wonderful to see some justice in our lives. Wow, you pray for justice. It is incredible to actually see it visited upon a family like the Bidens. Can we put Donald Trump at UFC up one more time? Ladies and gentlemen, this is our energy heading into the new year. Everything from Elon Musk, GFY, to Vivek Ramaswamy on the debate stage, to Donald Trump on CNN, to Tucker Carlson eviscerating and disemboweling Mike Pence, the destruction of the old and the welcoming of the new. That is what this season is all about. That is the energy that we will carry forth into the new year, along with a very important thing that I wish to give to you, a present I wish to give to you. As our audience, you support us in watching our program, simply by watching our program. And what do we do with that support? This year, we decided to travel to the poorest place in America. The poorest place in America is a place called Wheeler County, Georgia. Wheeler County, Georgia, the seat of that county is Alamo, Georgia. The median income in that county is $20,000 per family per year. There's a lot of kids in that county. Now, while our government is busy lavishing the children of Ukraine with money, gifts, and doling out as much as they possibly can for criminal illegal migrants who walk across our border and break our laws, forgotten are the children of some of the poorest places in America. They were born here. Their ancestors fought and died here. They're our neighbors. They're our fellow citizens. Shouldn't we do something for them? And so we decided to take America First, that we preach on the show all the time, and put that to action. Let's put it to action. And we went to Wheeler County, Georgia. We went to Alamo, and we did something. We built a toy store. We filled that toy store with 427 different presents based on some rough cocktail napkin math about how many kids live in the corresponding area. And then we opened up that toy store for free to the children and the family of Alamo, Georgia, and some special families at that, first responder families first. And what happened next was nothing short of actual Christmas magic. And you, Salty Army, Benny Brigade, you helped fund this. You created this. You allowed us to do this for these beautiful fellow American citizens. Please enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, the Christmas toy store brought to you by you and me. Let's go. We took an abandoned general store and turned it into a Christmas wonderland, Santa's workshop. 427 individual items, bikes, action figures, dolls, stuffed animals, video games, Legos, sports balls, and anything a kid could want. Are you excited? Yay! And here's the kicker. Everything in this store is 100% free. We built our toy store in Alamo, Georgia, because the average family income here is about $20,000 per year. A quarter of the entire county lives below the poverty line, in part because there's a large prison population here. But we came here to serve our fellow Americans no matter who they are. We share a country together. They're our neighbors. These days, there's plenty of attention on other countries around the world, but we forget that millions of Americans need help too. And some of them live right here in Alamo, Georgia. Let's take care of our own country first. Of course, you can't build a Santa's workshop without Santa, and luckily Santa Claus, Georgia is just a few minutes down the road from our toy store. Where's Santa?
right, let's go do it.
Thank God there's Santa Claus, Georgia.
This is almost as tight as my sled.
This is a Nissan sled. I'm sorry. Welcome to Alamo, Georgia. We are here in Santa's workshop, Christmas Wonderland.
Our toy store, which started off as an empty warehouse just a few days ago, now houses nearly 500 toys around the store. So how does this free toy store work? First, the children get a ticket. Then they select their toy. That ticket can be exchanged for any toy in the store, and then they go see Santa. Merry Christmas.
Are you ready? Let's go.
With Santa in place, we were almost ready to open up the store for the entire town. But first, we want to do something special for some special families. Brody is 2 years old. Brody's father was an Alamo police officer who was slain in the line of duty protecting his community. We thought Brody would like his own police car.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, more than you guys know. It really does.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
The local police department and police chief showed up to christen Brody's new police cruiser and send this boy off right.
He's gonna get a police escort home?
It'll be fun, though, won't it, buddy? It'll be fun, though, won't it, buddy?
Yeah.
Dalton has been a volunteer firefighter in Alamo for 15 years. He has 3 children and a newborn. We thought it'd be nice for Dalton and his wife to get free diapers for life from our friends at Every Life Diapers. We reached out to a few other families in the community who are in need this Christmas, welcomed them into the store early to pick out a toy. I don't think the kids minded at all.
You want to go see Santa? Good job. Turn down back. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Say Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much.
By the time we were ready to open the store, hundreds of families had shown up and a line stretched around the block.
You want toys? Yeah! You guys excited? Yeah! Are you ready to see Santa's workshop?
Before we open the store, one quick thing. How do we afford all this? The answer is you. Nearly 1.5 million people subscribing to our YouTube channel makes this possible. So thank you for bringing this Christmas magic to your fellow Americans.
Are you ready? Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas!
We'd never been to Alamo, Georgia before, but they welcomed us like family. By the time we left, we were family, or at least neighbors. You're supposed to love your neighbor. But bad forces in America want us to hate each other. They profit off division. Ignore them this Christmas. We live in a great country. This place is a gift. And you know the reason we give presents on Christmas is to remember the gift of Jesus Christ. Kind of amazing what a little gift can do.
This is the work that we wish to do on this program as we head into the new year. We do this program live every single day. We thank all of you for subscribing, but there is nothing more powerful than being the salt and light into the world of God. God calls us to love your neighbor. God calls us to love our fellow citizens in this country and to not see them as by their political stripe, by where they come from, what they may look like. It's all immutable. That's all something that we have no control over. We have control over how we treat our fellow Americans and putting Americans first. So this is the place that I was born. This is the place that my children were born. This is the place I'm going to raise my family. I ain't leaving. I'm going to take care of this place first. And we're going to use this show and this platform to do that. We're going to continue that work into the new year. Earlier in the year, we also went to East Palestine, Ohio, and we did our best to help them out when the federal government ignored them. That's what we're going to do. And so we thank you. We thank you for supporting us. We thank you for subscribing. We thank you for signing up for the Benny Brigade. This is the work that we'll do with your support. And ladies and gentlemen, we just want to take a moment and thank Public Square, who is also a friend of the show, and also a sponsor of the show, who gave a year's worth of diapers to that beautiful family. And Michael Seifert, who is the CEO and founder of Public Square, has been working with us on some other really big projects. So more to come here. We're really, really excited and really optimistic for what the new year will bring. And we say thank you. We say thank you to one other brand new sponsor, Spike Tactical. Spike Tactical is the wall that is behind me. You may have noticed there's a lot of Christmas decorations there. We even have a special, you can see that wrapped AR-15 behind me that we'll be using in like a skit in a segment later today. But this is a firearm company here out of Florida who really aligns with our values. And I'm about protecting ourselves, protecting our nation, protecting our families. There's a lot of monsters out there. And we are happy to be partnering with a Florida firearm maker that is truly in line with our Second Amendment rights to protect ourselves. And so a Merry Christmas to you and a Merry Christmas from those who wish to protect this place. This is a special place. This place is a gift. The Christ child is a gift on Christmas. The reason we give presents on Christmas is to remember the gift of Jesus Christ in our lives to help us march forward, fight evil, and to live a joyous life. And I hope that this holiday season brings you joy. And I hope this holiday season brings you great happiness and great joy, tidings of great joy to all the people that unto us this day in the city of David, a Savior is born. As Isaiah predicted in our verse of the day, 9:16 of Isaiah, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Two quick things there about our verse of the day. One, the government is upon Christ's shoulders. At the time that this was being written, at the time of Christ's birth, Israel was an occupied land. And they had foreigners, Romans, who had taken over, who were taxing them, and they weren't very popular. The government has always been something that the people disagree with, hate, loathe, despise, fight with. It's always been corrupted by individuals because evil runs to power. Evil flocks to power like moth to a flame. And so it often corrupts governments, and especially powerful governments. And why should we possibly think that America will be any different? It's not. That's why we fight. But the governments are upon Christ's shoulders. Christ is bigger than the governments. They think they're in control. They think they have all of this control. We can do anything. We can take Donald Trump off the ballot. We're in control. They're not in control. God is in control. And how do you know that God is in control of your life? It's the last line of the verse right here. The Prince of Peace. Do you have peace this holiday season? I don't care what headlines you read or what articles you read. I know there's always been apocalyptic meltdowns from here till kingdom come. Every era and every generation has faced their trials, and we certainly are facing ours. I'm not trying to say that what we're facing isn't wrong or blackened or evil. But ladies and gentlemen, the Prince of Peace, God, the wonderful Counselor, the everlasting Father, Almighty God has been with us through the ages. He's been with your ancestors, your brave ancestors. You wouldn't be here today watching the show if you didn't have brave ancestors who brought you and your lineage into this earth. And God allowed for you to live in this time, in this moment, in this space. You weren't born in the wrong era. This is the time for you. And this is the time for us. And heading into the new year, ladies and gentlemen, we will win. It says, fear not, 365 times in the Bible. Fear not. That's one for every day of the year. We'll be with you in the next year. We thank you for making this an incredible year for us here at The Benny Show. Our entire team says thank you. God bless you, and Merry Christmas. See ya.